A change is as good as a rest when it comes to building and growing and supersizing your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is a change is as good as a rest. And it corresponds to this year's annual challenge, the Be 365-Day Challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us. And today's topic is the change paradox, which says the only constant is change, meaning no matter what happens, no matter what, no matter who you are, change is going to impact your life. And so we discussed ways to embrace change, and we use something called the SOAP framework that helps us have a process installed in our subconscious so that dealing with changes and challenges and obstacles and roadblocks and setbacks, whatever you call them, failures, mistakes, faux pas, whatever, we've got a way to automatically handle them in our subconscious. So instead of just a willy-nilly way of dealing with changes and challenges, we have a way to do it intentionally. Now, I love this particular idiom and expression, a change is as good as a rest, for several reasons. It's been around since at least 1825 when it showed up in the Christian Gleaner and Domestic magazine. So no idea what that is. I haven't gone to look it up, but that's where it was first printed and published. It was slightly different, and they suspected it was because it was to kind of combat the all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy or Jill a dull girl. That's another idiom. We've talked about that one before as well, that we can't just work. Now, we do have to be dedicated and all in and work hard and smart sometimes, but it's not something that we can sustain, at least not for more than 20 years in my personal experience, before we need some kind of a break. So I learned following that experience that I needed to be more in control of my thinking, my beliefs, everything with respect to my business as well as the other areas and aspects of my life, and that everything couldn't be about work and business and making money. I had to have balance. I wanted to be a good mom, I wanted to be a good wife, I wanted to be a good daughter, etc. So I needed to learn how to take rest. So one of the things I started doing every day was getting outside, getting some fresh air, going for a walk. Maybe it was only a 5-minute walk around the block, but it got or up and down the driveway once I started working at home. But it got me out of what I was doing and preoccupied with, usually something that was frustrating me, if you can imagine that. So I would get out and go for a little walk, or I'd go get a cup of coffee or go get a glass of water, something to just change and shake up what I was doing and what I was focusing on, especially when I hit a little stumbling block or roadblock. It's a great way to get a little break. And I for 20 years never really went on vacation or took a break. I do some things with the kids and with the family, but I wasn't ever really there when I was on vacation and with the family and the kids. It's hard to admit this because I was always thinking I was trying to be a good mom, but whenever we went anywhere or did anything, work was always in the back of my mind, especially when I was in corporate America and just starting different businesses. And I think that I kind of stole from myself in terms of actually being able to experience and be present in some of those situations. And so when I think back to those things, I have a vague memory of them. You know, fishing trips up north with the family, I have a vague memory of it, but I was usually doing paperwork or reading in the front of the boat with a fishing pole in one hand and a book in the other, or something I was learning or doing. And so sometimes I feel like I missed out on those experiences, and so I don't want that to happen. It's important that we actually take a physical break, and maybe it's just we change what we're focusing on, we're working on. Maybe you've been working on a big project and you just decide you're going to knock some little things off your to-do list. That helped me out really, and continues to help me out as well. I also am a lot more structured and scheduled than I ever was in the past. I block time out for certain activities, and I make sure that I have a variety of things because I got a lot of energy. I can't just sit and focus or learn or study or coach all day. I have to have a flexible schedule and flexible time and different activities throughout the day. That keeps me energized and going. So a lot of different idioms with respect to change, you know, to break the mold, to change your perspective or your take on things, to stick to your guns, to reinvent the wheel, which I am definitely guilty of, to have a change of heart. There's lots of them, but I picked today, a change is as good as a rest, because to me, understanding, embracing this has literally been a lifesaver. These are actually Tic Tacs in a little Lifesaver container, but it originally had Lifesaver minis in it. And it reminds me that I'm in charge of how stressed out I am or not, right? Stress is an emotion. We get to choose whether we're going to participate or not. And for about a decade now, over a decade, I've stepped back and really looked at the situation and said, okay, is this something I really need to get riled up about, or can we just solve the problem and move on? And I found it's a lot less stressful and a lot faster and easier to just deal with the situation and the problem at hand and then move on. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the solutions and move on. That's been a lifesaver too. Love to know your take on this particular idiom. Do you personally think, and have you experienced that changing what you're doing, changing your activity, it re-energizes you? It's as good as taking a rest or a nap. Not a napper. I laugh. My sisters are nappers. I'm like, how do you guys nap in the day? Anyway, we're all different. That's what makes life wonderful and fun. And that helps us to grow and build and supersize the business we want to create in the world. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. We're done with paradoxes. Today was the change paradox, which is the 20th paradox that we've covered. And we're switching gears and we're popping back into the SOAP framework. Not tomorrow, but the day after, and then for that week to end out October. October is flying by. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.